Hello, my name is Jacob Gunn. For my video, I have chosen to use the split-second button choice functionality in the game Detroit Become Human. I have pre-recorded my gameplay, so let's get started. The functionality is presented as a chase, with the goal to capture the enemy during the chase. Obstacles are placed in the way of the player in order to deter the player's progress. To keep the player's relevant speed constant, you must press a pre-selected button at exactly the correct time. This time is regulated in the game at 3 seconds. If the corresponding button is pushed within the correct timeline, the object is navigated without taking away from the relative distance between the player and his objective. By incorporating this feature into the game, the player is forced to make split-second decisions every 5 to 10 seconds. If the corresponding button is not pressed within the correct time allotted, visual PFI is added, and the player will take longer to navigate an obstacle. I believe that the functionality is constructed through a relative timeline and a decision tree that is visually portrayed to the player. Also, these constraints are then applied to a lose condition. If the player gets too far from his target, the player has to start over. Another aspect of the chase scene is that the player can freeze time and decide what route to take. This feature would be too difficult for me to implement properly. Something I would have to deconstruct is the logic between the player and his target. The target would have to have a constraint advantage. Either the target is slightly faster than or at least equal to the speed of the player, or the target is only shown in certain places of the game, making the player feel the need to hurry and therefore making the enemy seem to be much faster. The most difficult part would be to figure out how to make the player's movement work correctly, with the button being pressed. I would simply use colliders that add force or play an animation when the button is pressed, then use else-if statements to add the failure functionality. I believe that utilizing this logic could later be elaborated upon to make an even better and more challenging build for the player. By implementing the simplified core fundamentals of this scene, anyone could construct a fun and yet elaborate construct. This is the end of my presentation, and thank you for your time.